Good evening and welcome to the Walt Whitman show from Cork in Ireland, and welcome first of all to Nick and Abby and Goliath and RPG 27512. Hello, good evening, or well, I say good evening, but Nick, I've forgotten where you are. Jonathan Sawyer in Great Britain, in England, Party World from Waterford in Ireland. I'd love to see what variety of countries we have here tonight. RPG, thank you for inviting people. Thank you. Oh, Abby, you're in Dublin. Right, the capital of Ireland, in Dublin. Auntie Jarvie I've drawn a blank. Nick, you're in California. Great. So what? Liverpool. Oh, yes, of course. I remember that. Liverpool, yes. Corey Manning, hello. How do you do? Emily, you must remind me where in California, yeah. And Marissa, who sings opera. Is here, thank goodness. And Russell's verse is here. This gets better and better. Rosie of Educate is here from Florida. Well, it's very good to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. It's lovely. And I'm going to, on the show tonight, there will be just popping in to say hi. Wonderful. Thank you so much for popping in. That is lovely. Jacksonville, Florida. Lovely. Basbla, lovely to see you again. Waterford in Ireland, Southeast California. Marissa, where in California can you... If I asked you that before, then I'm sorry for having to ask again, but Palm Beach Gardens, right? Palm Beach Gardens. But Marissa, where are you in California? Why? I've got a special interest in California because I was there twice. So I spent 2 summers in California, and I worked in Long Beach. I worked in a sweet factory in Long Beach. So the show this evening is going to involve lots of very lovely people being here, lots of chat, I'd imagine. A short piece of poetry by Walt Whitman, part 9 of the very long poem of Pasadena. Been to Pasadena. I went to an art gallery in Pasadena. Can't remember what the art gallery was, but I remember going to it. The connection went out. Right. So part 9 of Leaves of Grass. Part 9 of Song of Myself. The poem Song of Myself by Walt Whitman. Written in the early 1850s. So I wish I could remember. Which art gallery it was. Sherry Helen, hello. Sherry Helen, you're 65 miles south of Long Beach. Where would that put you? You wouldn't be as far as... How far are you from Huntington Beach? About 20, you're 20 miles south of Huntington Beach, would that be correct? God, I'm going back a long way to remember this. But anyway, so the other thing is that I have with me tonight a companion that I'm going to introduce you to. Oh, you lost charge on your phone. That's on pity. No, I was going to introduce the egg cup. Just going to say that I brought with me for the show tonight, I brought an egg cup. And for those of you who have come for poetry, I'm just about to start to read poetry, but I'm just going to pour a little drop of something into the egg cup so that for fortification. And this is for those of you who have any interest in alcoholic drinks, and this show is not sponsored by any drinks company. No company making alcoholic drinks is sponsoring this show, by the way. This just happens to be my favorite gin at the moment. A Pinot Noir. I've not come across a Pinot Noir gin. I will definitely keep my eye out for that one. That would be very interesting. A kind of a pinky reddy gin. Must moisturize egg cups now and then as maintenance. So, yes, it means that when I eat eggs from the egg cup, the eggs are sort of more tasty than they would be otherwise. So, cheers. Just a small taste. Okay, so Walt Whitman. And for those of you who know nothing about Walt Whitman, we'll say, he's a great American poet. He's, in my opinion, he's the greatest of the American poets. Aha, you drink Hendrick's gin. Wow, spiked boiled eggs. Yeah, I think Walt Whitman is the greatest of the American poets, but he was born in 1819 and died in 1892. And his most famous work is the book for which he's known is called Leaves of Grass. It was first published in 1855. So that's 6 years before the American Civil War began. And it began as a small, slim volume of poetry, and it grew to being something like this size. And my plan is to read the whole of Leaves of Grass, on Periscope, or to die in the attempt. That's the aim. So it'll take a long time. By the way, part 9, section 9 of the poem Song of Myself is part 9 of a total of 52 parts. There is one part for each week, and the parts were only invented later on. When it was first published, it was just one long poem. It was an extremely long poem. So here we are, part 9, Song of Myself by Walt Whitman, a short part tonight. The big doors of the country barn stand open and ready. The dried grass of the harvest time loads the slow-drawn wagon. The clear light plays on the brown, grey and green, intertingled. You know, I'm going to start all over again. I've completely screwed that up. That word isn't intertingled, so I'm going to start again. There's just no point in carrying on with that bugging me. So we're going to start again. This is part 9 of Song of Myself by Walt Whitman. The big doors of the country barn stand open and ready. The dried grass of the harvest time loads the slow-drawn wagon. The clear light plays on the brown, grey and green, intertinged. The armfuls are packed to the sagging mow. I am there. I help. I came stretched atop of the load. I felt its soft jolts. One leg reclined on the other. I jumped from the crossbeams and seized the clover and timpani and roll head over heels and tangle my hair full of wisps. I'm going to read it again, and this time I'm going to read it properly. I don't think I've ever made so many mistakes. And if you had the book in front of you, you'd realize One of the difficulties that's very unusual in reading all poetry is that very few poets fill the line on the page. And quite a reasonable amount of Walt Whitman's poetry has got hyphens in it. And when you're reading something with hyphens, you have to, the brain has to do something a bit more complicated than it would have to do if the word was all there in front of you. So, enough about that stuff. Off we go again. Part 9, Song of Myself by Walt Whitman. The big doors of the country barn stand open and ready. The dried grass of the harvest time loads the slow-drawn wagon. The clear light plays on the brown, grey and green intertinged. The armfuls are packed to the sagging mow. I am there, I help. I come stretched atop of the load. I felt its soft jolts, one leg reclined on the other. I jump from the crossbeams and seize the clover and Timothy and roll head over heels and tangle my hair full of wisps. And roll head over heels and tangle my hair full of wisps. That is section 9 of Song of Myself by Walt Whitman. Basically 8 lines of poetry. I don't know what experience Whitman had of farming and of being, on a farm. But good evening, Ollie, again. Thank you for a delightful walk, or the part of it that I was on certainly was delightful. Pete, MTZ, hello. Welcome. Thank you for coming, and welcome to the Walt Whitman Show. And Pete, I've just read a part of a very long poem by Walt Whitman called Song of Myself. And I've read part 9. There are 52 parts in the poem. So there's plenty more to go, as they say. There's eating and drinking in this poem. Lars says, you're all wonderful people. And I'm minded to agree. Kenny Elizabeth, hello. Kenny Elizabeth, hello. There's somebody from Denmark here. There are people from California here. There are people from several places here, several different places. Palm Springs, Texas. Yeah, lots of people from different places. There isn't anybody here tonight from Saudi Arabia. One day, about 5 nights ago, somebody from Saudi Arabia came on. And I thought, that is phenomenal to have and I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, it was a woman from Saudi Arabia. And I thought to myself, a woman from Saudi Arabia comes onto Periscope and is present for a reading of Walt Whitman and is willing to chat. Park Tomlin, hello, good evening. And I thought, that is, quite phenomenal. I'd be absolutely honest, I can't remember. I can't remember what she thought. I just remember thinking she was delightful and she was from Saudi Arabia. And I thought, wow. Yeah, we had several exchanges, The part I remember best about it is actually I made a mistake, first of all, which is usually a good way to have a connection with somebody, because I said, do you speak